Welcome back, Bristol Motor Speedway. Take a look at our Just for Men Auto Stop track description.
See, right, just over half mile. Again, the corner's now about 28 degrees. Used to be 30 degrees. They ground those last 2 degrees off.
Happens in a hurry here, Rick.
Royal Purple Race Analysis, 36 trucks, purse just under $500,000. That pit window, 140, 150.
What that means is these guys can go to the rest of the way if they want to.
We'll find out if anyone chooses that strategy. Timothy Peters, Todd Bodine, front row, green flag back in the air.
Nice jump by Timothy Peters. He went to the outside, kind of left Todd behind him. Todd's going to fight Cale Gale now for the second spot.
Timothy Peters got the lead the initial start of the race by being on the bottom. Now he takes the top and does it. So he's versatile, got a fast truck on either lane.
Brad Keselowski drops back to the 4th spot. Now Cale Gale was able to take a position back from him. Joey Coulter, Nelson Piquet Jr. running side by side for the 5th spot.
With Johnny Sauter right behind them, trying to figure out, is he going to make it 3 wide in the bottom?
Johnny looked to the bottom, wasn't able to have enough room down there. Nelson Piquet Jr. able to get by the 22 now, holds on to that 5th spot.
Piquet got a little bit loose underneath Coulter, and it opened the door for Johnny Sauter to maybe take a look in there. Decided against it, but Piquet was able to get on by Coulter, but he was sideways into the corner.
Clean racetrack in front of Timothy Peters and Todd Bodine now as those two continue to run great laps.
The 75 truck of Caleb Holman was the Aaron's lucky dog, but you're not allowed to take fuel the first time by. He took fuel. He's having to do a pass-through penalty.
That's just a young team that made a mistake there, a young driver and a team that got a big break by getting that Aaron's lucky dog and wasn't able to take advantage of it. He's passing through right now.
Ty Dillon, Parker Kligerman racing for position, back in the field just a bit. See them working together. They're in the 8th and 9th positions on the track.
You can hear Jason White really working that gas, trying to get the grip he needs up off the corner to move up through these guys. Jason did the wave around, and now he's fighting to stay on the lead lap.
I think it was a great call. We'd only run 85 laps.
Oh, we got a flat tire into turn 3.
That's the 07 that's up into the wall of Jeff Agnew.
And that means it's going to work for Jason White.
Great call by that team to get him back on the lead lap. Couldn't go anywhere early in the race. Stabilized, had a steady truck, and now he's got his lap back.
Agnew also had done the wave around, so obviously had some issues with the 07. Gets into the wall, brings out the caution. Saturday before the battle in Bristol begins, NASCAR Race Day provides the ultimate setup. Join JR, Kenny, Kyle, and Larry Mack as they get you revved up for one of the most anticipated races of the season and tell you what to expect from the new surface here in Thunder Valley, which you're getting a little glimpse of right now. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day fueled by Sunoco, Saturday, 5 Eastern. That's live on Speed. 2x2 they go. UNOH 200 about to get back underway. Closing in on the halfway point of this race. 2 cautions to start us off. We've got Timothy Peters and Todd Bodine making up row number 1. And they have decided to put the caution back out. So let's go back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Rick, I was just listening to the radio and Todd Bodine came on talking with his crew chief, said, hey Rick, it's really, really bad when I drive it in extremely hard. And Rick came back and said, I've got an easy fix for that. Don't do it.
And you rely on your crew chief for advice.
For that input. Hard for a driver to feel like he's got a pretty good truck and do that. And yet at the same time, a crew chief telling him not to do it.
Right. It's like when you tell your mom your arm hurts when you move it, and she says, don't move it.
Don't move it. Well, you want to move your arm. Just like Todd Bodine wants to drive it in there hard. Lights are off on the pace car.
The interesting restart here, watching Todd Bodine down on the inside of Peters. Timothy's made it work on the top and bottom. See if he can continue to dominate this race. He's been the guy out front since the get-go.
And he's in control of the restart. That's the important thing here.
Green flag back in the air. Timothy Peters with another good restart. Brad Keselowski, a great restart just behind him.
Todd's going to be able to get up in between them. Halfway right now.
Single file, the top 6. Peters, Bodine, Keselowski, Cale. Nelson Piquet Jr. moves up to 5th. Johnny Sauter back to 6th.
See that group inching up a little bit, it looks like, Michael.
They're trying to get it up a little bit higher. There's going to be a limit to how far you can go, though.
Ty Dillon is stretching it up there in the 3. He went all the way up about 8 feet away from the wall. That's the highest we've seen anyone run so far tonight.
And you know, you got to really respect what Ty Dillon's done tonight. His truck wasn't real good early, hung in there, battled hard throughout the first half of the race, and now he finds himself in the top 10, and he's battling with trucks that are up near the top 5.
Plug him into the inside. Joey Coulter to the outside, running 4th position.
How about Justin Lofton? They remember went to the back of the pack because of an incident during qualifying. They repaired.
Oh, he's sideways.
Got into the 18 of Brian Scott, but just outside the top 10 though for Justin Lofton.
And Busher as well. A terrible qualifying run for that team. He's been able to rally, and now he finds himself battling near the top 10.
Yep, sitting in the 12th spot right now as he and Justin Lofton are fighting for position. Lofton has the 11th spot, Busher back in 12th.
Brendan Gaughan, the 2 South Point Chevrolet right behind them. Remember, we saw him drive to about 6th or 7th before that first caution flag.
I love this battle for second. Brad goes low in turns 1 and 2. Last time he was plumb up near the high side of the racetrack trying to get around Ty Bodine in 3 and 4. See, he changes his groove. He runs middle, high, low, whatever it's going to take. He wants to get around Todd.
I think what's more important to look at is how good Timothy Peters is right now. He has a ½ a second lead over Bodine and Keselowski.
Yeah, these guys are running side by side right now.
Look at the move by Brendan Gaughan up on the top. Took advantage of Justin Lofton, who had gotten together with Busher, lost some of his momentum, and Brendan was able to drive around the outside.
See Brendan right up to the edge of the gray.
Lofton lost
both ends of the racetrack. Actually, the right side's in the gray that time.
Now he's got Ryan Blaney working the high side of the racetrack. Lofton trying to get up there now. Hasn't figured out which line he wants to run. Battle for second continues. The battle for 12th on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, Brad doesn't like watching Timothy Peters drive away. We're sneaking in on 90 to go, and he knows how strong Peters has been. He needs to get around Todd and go up there and figure out what it's going to take to race his way around Timothy.
It looks like right now that Brad Keselowski's truck is probably a little faster than Todd's, but Todd is doing a nice job running the groove that his truck wants to run, and that's keeping Brad behind him. Now Brad's going to go to the high side. He's got a fender up there.
Here comes Keselowski trying to make the triple be his here at Bristol. No one has done it other than Kyle Busch, winning all 3 races in 1 week's time.
What an aggressive move by Brad. Todd tried to cut him off, trying to run him up high. Brad wasn't having any of that. He used that high groove and got around Bodine.
So now Brad sets his sights on the 17. These two side by side, Nelson Piquet Jr. and Cale Gale. Piquet Jr. trying to take that 4th position away.
You can see Brad now open up about 3 truck lengths on Todd to see if he can chase down that 7D truck. That last lap, Keselowski was the fastest truck on the racetrack. He ran a 16:22.
Nelson Piquet Jr. looks like when he gets on the inside of a truck, he gets a little bit loose, can't continue to make those passes.
You know, if I'm Timothy Peters' spotter, I'm going to call Timothy and say, watch the 29 when he gets there. He's been going higher than anybody, making moves on the outside. You might want to roll up the track, Timothy, see how your truck feels up there, because that's where you're going to have to be if you're going to hold off Brad Keselowski.
Guy holding down the 4th spot right now, Cale Gale, Ray.
And Rick, I just wanted to add, whenever they came into the pits on lap 84, Cale Gale came in 2nd right behind Timothy Peters, but went out in 4th. The reason, they had a hang-up on the left front lug nuts on that Rheem Chevrolet. That cost them a little bit of time, but they made no adjustments on that pit stop, and Cale said his truck is very good. He said, don't worry, we're going to be able to inch back towards the front.
Todd Bodine running a little different line now, running a little higher through the turns than we've seen him earlier.
Well, he saw Brad Keselowski catch him, pass him on the high side, and drive away from him. He knows he has to adjust something to try to make that truck better.
And that's exactly what Peters will have to do, because Brad's coming.
Brendan Gaughan able to get by that 31 of James Busher. He's still trying to move to the front. Ryan Blaney, his first ever Camping World Truck Series start in that 19, running very well. Right now he's scored in the 13th position.
Yeah, Brendan's just outside the top 10. Brian Scott, that 18 truck, has the 10th position right now.
So Brad Keselowski reeling in the 17. Only a matter of time until he gets to the bumper of Timothy Peters. Peters has been dominant since the drop of the green flag here in Bristol. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Gold Eagle Stable Ethanol Treatment for everyday optimal performance and protection. By Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. Mobil 1. By Mike's on the Rocks, the perfect pre-party beverage to launch your night. and by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. And right now, a Ram truck is trying to reel in our race leader, Timothy Peters. Brad Keselowski running second, but he's got a second between he and the race leader.
Well, when he got by Todd Bodine, it looked like he was just going to charge up there and chase down Timothy Peters. And all of a sudden, Timothy grabbed another gear, and he's consistently the fastest truck on the racetrack.
Well, we talked earlier about the spotter calling Timothy down and letting him know what that 29 truck of Brad Keselowski was doing. The spotter did that. He said he's running a little higher. You're holding your own with him right now. If he goes low or goes in a different groove, I'll let you know. And Timothy has been committed since he's gotten the lead to run low on the racetrack, and he's made it work.
Right now, another long green flag run. We've completed 132 of the 200 scheduled laps. 68 laps of racing to go. Timothy Peters has led every lap since the drop of the green flag.
These trucks have been creeping this groove up, Michael.
Yeah, we've seen guys with two tires out into the very gray part of the racetrack, so they're trying to find some grip anywhere they can get it.
Herbie Sadler.
Well, Rick, the 19 right there, Ryan Blaney, really had a difficult time on the initial start of the race. He started in the top 5 and was outside of the top 10 in the first 5 to 10 laps. But since then, other than making a little bit of contact with the wall, he's actually settled down and driven a very nice race. They've been very calm with him on the radio. He's given really good feedback for a driver with not a lot of experience in these trucks. So far, been very, very impressive. The number 6 of Justin Lofton, he's currently in 13th. You guys mentioned started 32nd. This has been a total team effort from the time he wrecked in qualifying. These are the kind of nights you need to stay in championship contention if you're Justin Lofton. Ray?
Hey, Hermie, James Busher started back in 28th, currently up to 16th in that X-side race truck, but he has come on the radio and said, guys, I am so loose, I can't even hardly hold on to the wheel coming off the corners. I sure hope we get another chance to pit. They've made some progress, but so far, a really loose truck for Busher.
Oh, that was a great view of him just a few laps ago, trying to go to the outside of Justin Lofton. Got up there too high, Michael, and that's a case of having all 4 tires up in the gray, not enough grip.
I think you can fudge your way up in the middle of the corner field and get a good run off the corner, but on the exit, no one's ventured out there. We saw Busher try it, and he got into the outside wall.
James Busher running in the 16th spot now. Still on the lead lap, we have 22. BJ McLeod in the 27, still on the lead lap. Battle for 7. Johnny Sauter just in front of Joey Coulter. We saw Sauter. He was working his way up. Almost it looked like he had Nelson Piquet Jr. in his sights, and then he started to fall back. Parker Kligerman's been able to get by him. Now Joey Coulter looking to get inside.
Yeah, these guys have run about 60 laps since their last pit stop, so we only ran 83 laps before the first pit stop. So they're rapidly approaching the same number of laps that they ran the first go-round.
Yeah, and you talked about Parker Kligerman driving around Johnny Sauter as Joey Coulter tries to now. He's driven away from Johnny, and he's caught that battle for the 3rd spot. Todd Bodine, Cale Gale, Nelson Piquet Jr., and now Kligerman joins them just after driving away from this battle.
And by the way, it shouldn't be a huge surprise that Cale Gale was running here. Remember, he got a pole for a nationwide race here a couple years ago and had a top 5 finish.
That's his career best in the Nationwide Series right here at Bristol, and he got this place figured out.
Joey Coulter coming off of a 7th place finish at Michigan, but the big win the race before at Pocono. And now we see race leader about to put Ron Hornaday a lap down in that number 9. Timothy Peters working the bottom of the racetrack, getting into the slower lap traffic. Timothy Peters has just a very slight gap over Brad Keselowski here at the half mile. Bristol Motor Speedway, under the lights, truck racing.